All right. So here we go. Type 3. I don't know if you want to write it at the top, nice and big. Just make it stand out. Just let me grab my key. There we go. What I liked is what I saw is that you were putting the number in the right places. So that I like that you noticed that part. So that didn't throw you off, as far as I could see. So here we go. We have got children. 28 children have a dog, cat, or a bird. So there we have our N of D is 13. And I also some groups were doing this part. Like you're actually converting it, translating it to the proper notation, which is probably a good idea, right? So you've got N of D, C, and B. 4 children have only a dog and a cat. So I'm going to highlight the only parts. 3 children only have a dog and a bird. 2 children have only a cat and a bird. So cat and bird. You could also say cat and bird, but not a dog. This could be added there. And then the 3 children have a dog and a bird, but not a cat. Dog and a cat, but not a bird. Same thing. You could use only, or you can use but not. Okay. No child has 2 of each type, so there's no repeats. And I think the way this is worded, if it's not given, this part right here, this top part, is telling us that the union between the dog or cat or bird, right, all 3 sets combined is 28. So that would not be including any outliers. I would have to tell you that on a test, by the way, whether or not every item is in a set, or I would ask you how many do not belong to any of these, right? There should be some kind of indication that there are no outliers. This, to me, in and of itself, does not guarantee that. This is just saying, hey, all the ones that are in the sets are, add up to 28. So keep that in mind. So let's set up I'm going to make this a little bigger. The circle's a little bigger because I need that intersection between the sets to be a little bit roomier. Okay. So I'm kind of going to eat in a bit more than before. So we've got dog 13, cat 13, and bird 13. In this case, universal is 28. I will make an assumption here. I'm going to write it down up top here. We assume there are no outliers. That's our assumption here. You cannot do that on a test, okay? You can't say, I'm just going to assume there are no outliers, because I will give you enough information to figure that out. So here we go. Let's fill in the rest of the numbers. We've got 4 dog and cat. Dog and cat only. So the 4 goes in here. 2 have dog and a bird. So dog and bird is right here, these 2 circles. The 3 goes in there. And then the 2 is also only, and that's cat meets bird. Right? So that's 2 right here. And this, you can tell that the middle is unknown. So that should give you an indication when you have part of the intersection but not the middle, that we will call x, right? So it's kind of like, was it type 1 where we needed to use pi to find the middle? One of the previous types, you don't have to be too fixated on the type, you just have to know how to solve it, right, given the information. So I will tackle this one, I will try to find it. But if you want to use pi, you need those intersections. So this intersection is called x plus 2 or 2 plus x. It doesn't matter. Okay? And so this intersection here is 4 plus x. And that intersection that remains is 3 plus x, right? So we would add up the two numbers to find our intersections. Okay? So this is where it gets where it differs from the rest. Okay? So here we go. We're going to apply pi to this one. Using pi, and this is the one with 3 sets. You cannot use the long one with 3 sets for a 2-set scenario. Okay, you have to have both formulas on there. So we would go 28 minus 0, or just 28. I'm going to go minus 0 just to make sure we understand that there are no outliers, because I don't want you to forget to subtract the outliers if you have to. And then we just simply go and add up the big numbers outside the circles. Okay. We subtract all 3 intersections, but you got to be careful here. Put that in brackets. You go minus that 4 plus x minus the 2 plus x minus the 3 plus x. So you're subtracting all 3 intersections, which you can tell are not just number. It's not just a number, it's a term with an x attached to it. And last but not least, you add the center as before. And here I'm going to zoom into just this work here. So here we go. This is 28. These 3 numbers here add up to 39. And watch this, the negative distributes. So it's negative 4 minus x. This negative distributes as well. That's minus 2 minus x. And same thing here. Minus 3 minus x. So you're distributing the negative in front. That way you can get rid of the brackets. And watch this. You don't forget about the plus x here. And it turns out that those two will always cancel out, right? The negative x and a plus x, you can conveniently just cancel them out like that. So another line here. So what I'm going to do is basically underline all the numbers. So you just go 39 minus 4 minus 2 minus 3. And that you end up with 30, okay? 30, and how many x's? 1 here, 1 here, right? So this would be what? You combine like terms, which end up being negative 2x, like that. And now we're going to subtract 30 from both sides. 28 minus 30 is negative 2. Is equal to negative 2x. We don't worry about the negatives because they're going to cancel out right now. Divide both sides by negative 2. And the homework is in the way as always, right? Isn't the homework always in the way of life, right? So negative 2 divided by negative 2 is just 1. Voila. You just found that is basically the number of, children in this case that have all 3 pets, right? That must be a pretty loud house. 3 pets. I had birds at one point, and whew, that's loud. There you go. So now you can go back here and just say, hey, this is 1. And I'm going to fill in everything before I continue answering. Okay. So we do have the big number here, 13. So I'm just going to subtract these 3 numbers from 13. Do you want me to show the work, or I think it can just go 6, right? It's 5 and 7. And you go 13 minus 8, that's 5. And then we go 13 minus 6, that is 7. And now that your Venn diagram is completely filled in, you could answer anything, right? How many children have a cat, a dog, and a bird? I just answered that. How about we make that? I'm just going to make a separate line. I'm just going to say A. Once your diagram is filled in, it's like I would just say 1 child. B. How many children have only 1 pet? So you would just add up the 5, the 6, and the 7. That's 18 children. And C. Oh, there is no C. Sorry. I do have a C and a D, by the way. I could ask you how many children have a dog and a cat. Dog and a cat. That's this here, right? So that would be 5. How many children have 2 or more pets? 2 or more. So you'd add up these sections here because they have 2, and then the center, of course, right? So these numbers added up here would give 2 or more, and it goes on like that. Just have to basically be able to read your Venn diagram. Okay. I will say this for homework. For this particular question, if you want to try a type 3, page 32 has a type 3. And I'm going to ask you to go back to your group work and finish that question. Quiz. Start on page 35. So these are individual worksheets that I used to have. I would just hand them out, but they're now part of this. So page 35 goes all the way to 39. Lots of room for you to do the work. And then 40 to 43, I already assigned, but I'm going to do that again because those are really good 3-set problems. But the test isn't just going to be, or the quiz isn't just going to be 3 sets all the time. I just focused a bit more on that the last couple of days. Go back to everything we've done and just review that, right? Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? The exam, if there's ever a set question, they make you 99% of the time they make you draw a Venn diagram, and most of the time it's a 3-set. Most of the time, sometimes it's a 2-set Venn diagram. And some of the questions, especially on the test, are I'm going to test your knowledge in various ways. So sometimes it's going to be explain. Sometimes it's going to be, you can like have a diagram alongside your explanation. So however you want to convey your message, that's up to you. Just be very specific, and then you'll be okay. All right. So I'm going to post the key to this as well. It has 2 and 3.